Hello everyone. Every day we need to train our brain on the mindset of crisis management, specifically during the time of COVID. And this is a very important skill that we are not used to because the majority of people in this generation have not been into massive crisis before. And dealing with crisis is not something that we are used to, and that's why we really need to train our brains on this mindset of crisis management. So how can we do this? Three very important steps. Step number one is to let go of the past. We shouldn't be prisoners of the past. We should not compare. I was working like that. My income was X. I used to spend here and there. We need to restart and have a mentality of the beginnings. And this is not only my statement, but this is the work of several scientists and researchers in this field. I would just name Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who made the change curve, and everybody is like aware of that curve. The most important part is to let go of the past. It's very important to forget what we used to be because the world is changing. The dynamics of change are much bigger than individual efforts of ours. So instead of wasting efforts and wasting time in fighting the change, we should actually focus our efforts and focus our time to survive and survival. Part of this survival is do not compare past from present and future. Things can change and we need to let go of the past. Now, second step is prioritizing. Prioritization is very important. Why is that? Because people were used to doing certain things that they need to forget doing them. And prioritization means I cannot afford to do everything I used to do because of changes, because of economical challenges, because of all of that. So what do we need to do? We need to prioritize. For example, if we are going into the Eid time, we are going into festive time, you don't have to spend money in that. You don't have to go and buy and focus on survival. What are your priorities? If you have education, if you have bills to pay, those are the most important priorities you need to prioritize. Anything that you don't need, you just need to let go. And this is, again, part of the science of management and science of management of life, and which is what we call the zero budgeting. Zero budgeting means that anything that you don't need, you need to question and challenge spending all from the beginning. So if there is no need, if there is absolutely no need to spend in a certain area, take it to zero. Spend nothing in this area and prioritize based on survival. Now, step number three is to look at the future of not what your certificate or what your education or what you should be doing, not on the job that you should be holding, but on the job that you can be doing. And this is a very important part, because if you are an engineer in the future, you don't have to work as an engineer. If you are an accountant, if you are a physician, if you are a pharmacist, you might need to change jobs. And this is the most important part, is to think with flexibility and agility. It's not the time today. During crisis management, it's not what you should be working, it's what you could be working. And this is the important part. If you can work in delivery, if you can work in virtual marketing and virtual sales, if you can work in virtual lecturing, if you can do things. See, the world is going towards two very big divisions of businesses. Businesses that are going to be virtual and online. If you can take your business this way, then it's great. You need to learn and you need to adapt and you need to change and you need to start doing things online. And the second is the security of food, beverages, so F&B. It's all about securing F&B with all the collateral industries, like, for example, maintenance, spare parts, all of that of machineries. So there is nothing wrong about you being an engineer and you start being a farmer and farming your land. There is absolutely nothing wrong of you being a pharmacist or a physician and you start a delivery service project. There is absolutely nothing wrong. Think of it from a crisis mentality and a crisis mindset. If an earthquake happens, if a volcano happens, we've seen tsunami happen before and wiped off cities. Hurricanes and tornadoes happen and they wipe off cities. You will not just say, I need to get back to my job. It's crisis time. So in crisis time, you need to be flexible and agile. The focus on survival. Last statement and the last suggestion and advice I would give to my viewers: use your time wisely. If you are at home, some people are bored from being at home. Some people are too scared. Some people are too careless. The three parts, regardless if you are too scared, careless, or you are bored, you have time. So use this time to learn something new, read something new, adapt and get ready for the future. You are responsible. Time is the most expensive thing that you have in your life, and be very thankful that we are all alive. Don't think that the figures are good or bad. Figures are figures, and they are serious. So if we look at 1% death rate to 4% death rate, that's a lot of number. In 100 million, that means 100,000 to 400,000 people. That's even bigger than people dying in wars. Those could be your grandfathers, your mothers, your fathers, your kids, your everyone, your friends and your beloved ones. So what you need to do is not just focus on what's happening around you and focus on reading the figures and getting into the circle of being scared and panicked, or even looking at the other side of being careless and you don't bother. No, just use your time wisely, learn something new, be flexible, and be ready to do something that you have not done before.